future of Onitsha. And I use Onitsha in a generic term, even though it's Onitsha community, but I'm talking about, the future of Onitsha and how it connects to its ancient values, its past, its ancient values. This town is supposed to be the largest human settlement on the bank of the Northern Niger from the footage on highlands, where the Niger up to the Delta. This is the largest human settlement that you have, and it's a great place. A lot has happened here, So I'll be speaking how that connection within the context of an Onitsha aspirational concept, Ifejabo Onitsha, which talks about the greatness of Onitsha. This expression, it's now in slogans. If you look at most Onitsha-centric websites or platforms, you see Ifejabo Onitsha. It's in music, it's in dance, and all of that, Well, at the introduction, you were told that I'm a member of the Onitsha Advancement Foundation, OnAF. Yes, I serve on the board. And I lead a team on that board that's responsible for developing and implementing a values reorientation program as an enabler for that economic empowerment program. That economic empowerment program seeks to achieve 3 shifts. One is to move the community from a consumption-oriented community to a production one. The second is to make people understand that working as individuals is not the way to go, that collaboration and participation is better. The final shift that it wants to do, that economic empowerment program, is to get people to think long-term, not short-term. And so a number of institutions have been created to facilitate that. There's one focusing on entrepreneurship training, there's another one on skills acquisition, and then a third institution is supposed to help with financial intermediation, because you can have all the ideas in the world and if you haven't got the money, money, ego, if you don't have it, So, but our values orientation program is designed to serve as an enabler, to get people. You're not talking about the mind. Very important stuff. So, in trying to implement that program, we had to do a study to find out what are the key issues. And one of the things we interrogated is this Onitsha saying, Ifejabo Onitsha. It became clear to us that the meaning is change, great deal of misinterpretation, and the potency of what would ordinarily be an enabling force for the people, instead of going north, is gone south and no longer effective. So that's why I'm talking about Ifejabo Onitsha. What do I intend to do? 3 things, actually. First is, what is the prevailing idea amongst the young people? Because the future belongs to you, about Ifejabo Onitsha. Secondly, I want to talk about what exactly is it. Because you take an idea and you corrupt it, and it begins to mean different things. And you live with it, and you run with it, and you think it is. And yet, you wallow in ignorance. Then thirdly, because there's a reduction in its potency, and people don't understand what it is, what do we now do to rejuvenate it? That's what I've been talking about today. But really, why Ifejabo Onitsha? The abnormal has become the normal. Values are eroding in our society across the board. And they continue to do so unless we take definite action about them. And it's our mind. Most of you are not old enough to know when Bill Clinton ran for the presidency in 1990. He has a famous, if you watch CNN occasionally, you see James Carville, famous American political strategist. When Clinton was running in 1990 for the presidential election in America, he says the economy is stupid. You must have heard that. So for me, is the mind stupid? It's our mind. Everything we're talking about is our mind. So we need to rebuild the infrastructure of our mind. You can say I'm using physical terms, infrastructure. You will need to rebuild it so that we can be in a frame of mind where we can do good stuff. That's what it's all. In that way, the real meaning of Nn'emeka can be brought above the message clutter. There's always a message clutter, things all over, So you bring it, the real thing, people will understand it, and they begin to live and do it. And don't just mount a concept for the sake of it. If I have only 18 minutes, I can't bore you with it. But the music I play for you, show people dancing, even Nn'emeka and all of that. What the heck does it mean? Does it make the society go forward? If it's just for us to dance and sing about it, how is it affected in what we do? So what's the prevailing idea about Nn'emeka? I told you, we did a survey, and in that survey that we did, a baseline study, not for the value reorientation program, it was predominantly young people that we spoke to. For the qualitative survey, we had 13 focus group discussions, each made up of 6 persons. 7 of them were young people. We did a couple of in-depth interviews, 23 of them, about 5 were young people. When we came to the quantity where we had to talk to a large number of people, we still had to talk to 1,000 people, but for various reasons, we were able to do about 800 and something. 44% were young people. The results of that survey showed clearly that this concept of Nn'emeka, this enabling concept, has been turned upside down. Some of the ideas most suboptimal. And I'm going to use 2 expressions that come out of it to explain to you. I see now, I don't know how many of you, okay, I imagine that everybody speaks Igbo here, understands Igbo, but even then I'll translate. Yeah, it's a universal concept. The universality of the equality of man. Yes. It's not just peculiar to the, if you look at the American Declaration of Independence, it says, that all men are created equal, that they're endowed by their creator with certain inalienable rights. Yes, we're all created equal. God has made us. When you go to a doctor to look at you, there's certain basic things a human being must have. Yeah. But the truth of the matter is that there are human distinguishing factors. The quality of man, in the days I went to school, they didn't do 101, but I picked up from my kids. They say something, is at 101 level and also. That's basic. But at the end of the day, human beings are distinguished by certain factors. Their achievements, which leads to their status, their integrity. Is it good? So, and then in our society, age. But suddenly, the perception of all these young people, it doesn't matter. They take the idea that we're all equal, literally. I'm a 68-year-old man, but a 30-year-old boy, by his achievement, may have an edge over me because of what he has achieved. Nothing wrong with that. But he will respect my age when he wants to talk to me and want to do things. Now, the other expression, because there are manifestations, how is that now, on Onitsha Advancement boy, it is one thing to say, I don't want to operate at the bottom of the pyramid. I can't do a menial job. I would not go and be a shop hand or whatever. I'm cut out, aristocrat, all that. But let's face it, if you don't make a conscious, rational effort, you will remain at the bottom of the pyramid. And the recourse that you have is to go into criminality and all kinds of things. So these are the things we found. It's based on empirical survey. I'm not making it up. A research firm did this here in Onitsha, and we got those results. And that's what really triggered me to start saying, wait a minute, you guys are going to have this TEDx. I'll come and I believe that young people, And one of the outcomes is that people have now all kinds of values, unnecessary pride, display of ego, superiority that's based on nothing. I'm superior, I'm this. But when I go, nothing. It's just superiority that's based on nothing. So that is the prevailing view, based empirically determined. Nn'emeka Maduegbuna did not conjure this. Now, but what's the essence of Ifeji Onitsha? Because when the founding fathers of Onitsha came up with this idea, they had something in mind. It's basically an aspirational concept which guides the Onitsha man's way of life, and which should guide the life of everybody. That's what it is. Indeed, my best example of illustrating it, I use the story. I don't know how many of you have read My Odyssey, Nnamdi Azikiwe's biography. You know, he was born in Zungeru, you know, so he was the Ibrahim of Zungeru. So his parents said, this boy is going to be in Ibrahim, he wouldn't know his roots. So they shipped him down to Onitsha. That's why, if you do My Odyssey, you find that Zig's first, he went to school in Onitsha. So his grandmother would regale with stories about his people and all that, Onitsha people. And, oh, how special they are, aristocrats. But Zig said, for me, what counts is aristocracy based on intelligence. So when I begin to, in my own humble opinion, to define Ifeji Onitsha, and this is me, Nn'emeka Maduegbuna, talking, it's aristocracy based on intelligence. You know, you got your brains, using it positively and doing things, you know, plus enhanced by a focus on enterprise, what you call a wambo. So I'm not good in mathematics, but I can say it's aristocracy based on intelligence plus a focus on enterprise. That's what is Ifeji Onitsha. Heritage is secondary. The hood does not make the monk. You can wear all your hood, it does not. It is a substance. It so happens that the people here have said this is our way of life, and they happen to have been the Onitsha. It's like you talk about the Jews, all of that, they are God-chosen people. It's not it. Yes, they are God, but it is what they do. So if you start talking about, I come from Onitsha, I do this, I do that, and you see, in that survey, we spoke to a number of old people as well. And you will permit me to read some of the quotes. You can see some of the old people. They said, position of pride, sense of belonging that you'll be industrious to achieve, to excel, and do things that will push you in the right perspective. That's one quote. You need to be up and doing. You need to aspire to be the best in all you are doing. You might not necessarily be at the very top, but you are close there. Onitsha man will not reduce himself to do things that will bring shame to his family or society. To be an Onitsha man, you must possess rare qualities. You must have a good character, and you must be reasonable, educated, not necessarily university, but you must be productive. These are some of the quotes what some of the older people told us in that survey. And this, I think, is what has led to the heroes and heroines of Onitsha. I brought this book, and it's been sold outside. It documents a lot of Onitsha heroes and heroines, starting from Ezechima, who is the progenitor of Onitsha, through people like George Nicholas Nn'emeka, who is the first Igbo clergyman, who happens to be my paternal grandmother's father, John Cross Nn'emeka, Nnamdi Azikiwe, the great Zik of Africa. There are lots and lots of people through Lim Banefo, Ernest Ebuna, pioneer Igbo lawyers, Chikobi, first Nigerian to obtain a PhD in mathematics. By the way, Chikobi got his first degree as an external candidate of University of London, sitting in his father's house in Oboli Olosi. It was after I got his first degree that I got a scholarship to go to Pembroke College to do a master's and a PhD. Then arguably one of Africa's greatest artists of the last century. That's what propelled them. Here we are in a bar. By the way, that's the full name, a bar Asika Ajie. Ajie, you know, where we are here. You can see the memorial. So that is what it is all about. And like I said, you don't have to be international. You don't have to leave your village to make an... And it's even technology, even... Yeah, but you can influence your society. And I talk about two fellows. This gentleman, Echukwu, this is his book, his autobiography. What is it? Life Between Two Shrines. Echukwu was born in 1899, physically challenged. By the traditions of those days, he was supposed to be put away. Nothing. You know that kind of, you know the tradition of those days. But his mother tended him. Ichikuku, through, after primary school, through correspondence college studies, Pitmas in the late 20s, got professional qualifications in typing, shorthand typing, bookkeeping, set up practice, you know, providing the services to people, and also running a trading school, which later became the famous Ichikuku Commercial Institute, was the first school, secondary school in Eastern Nigeria to offer commercial education. Ichikuku got an MBE from the British government for doing that. He set up a printing press, not only did job printing, but also became a publisher. Then went on hospitality, the hotel, the pride, and all. So you can see all within Onitsha. There's also a guy called Achukwu Ochanja. You won't see him, but his picture is on the cover of this book, somewhere on the cover of it. Orphaned at the age of 6, managed, you know, natural fellow, artist, and all that. He was the first man in this town in the 30s to have a bicycle and motorcycle repair shop. Don't laugh because it's a bicycle. That if you could ride the cycle, if you owned a bicycle in the 30s, you could count the number of cars on the road. So he learned, he became an architect of some sort, not but draftsman, building houses. So what I'm going to say is that you don't have to, and like I said, now it's even much better because with technology. So I'm not asking you to go and stay in New York and do stuff. You can do stuff based on that. So having done all of that, and there are heroes today. We're in TEDx. How many of you know that Alex Okosi, who is managing director of YouTube EMEA, and was the brain behind MTV Africa? Onitsha boy, his parents' place are not too far from here. You know? Philip Emeagwali, one of the founders of Supercomputer. So there are people you can look at what they do, and they will inspire you. Even as you go, Delia Umunna, first Nigerian professor of law at Harvard. She's I think in her early 40s. She's a professor of law at Harvard University. If you come back home, there are people like Nn'emeka. I mean, or now that they're talking about electoral cases and all, you'll find them. You know, and then it's so good that at some point, INEC had to keep it on a retainer because he was on the other side. He would demolish their case. So to make sure they had him. So, you know. So, yes, that's the truth of the matter. INEC, under what's that, not this president, the other one had him, you know. So what do we do to rejuvenate Ife-Ijabor? What exactly do we need to do? Fortunately, unfortunately, it is the youth. The youth must take a lead. 70% of the inhabitants of this town are young people between the ages of 1 and 29. The young people. The core youth, as defined by Igbo people, or their own youth is widely, which is 15 to 29, are 27%. The median age in this town is 18. So, the future belongs to the young people. Not cranky old men like me. You got the future. And you are digital natives. It's all about technology. And you got to do it and move. Now, what do I expect the young people to do? The young people have to become ambassadors of Ife-Ijabor and Icherika. You got to inculcate that essence. It's your mind. That's the only way you have to inculcate it. And you've got to become what I call the leaders in espousing the message. Don't look at the old fellows. Theirs is gone. Anybody above 50, I'm not saying it's not useful, don't get me wrong, but biologically he's lived. The future belongs to you people. But you've got to do it in a way that makes sense, you know. And you are actually the leaders. And as leaders, there are a couple of things you must do. Self-development. It is said that even in your special area of study, you've graduated with the first class degree or whatever, if you do not constantly self-educate yourself, 10 years after, you are ignorant about development in that field. Not to talk of other things. So self-development is important. That's how you do leadership. And if you're a leader, the people around you, what do? You've got to be strategic. In every situation, do a SWOT analysis. What is the strength? What is the weakness? What is the opportunity? What are the threats? And based on that, you develop a strategy. A strategy is a path. If I say the strategy is to get to the Onitsha main market, because that's where the El Dorado is.